Haribol, dear devotees. So, thank you for giving me this special time to associate with you. I feel very grateful for it. Today, if I want to be your friend, I must discuss the truth. And sometimes the truth is difficult to hear because we are attached to this material world. We're attached to Maya. It's interesting. What is the definition of Maya according to Srila Prabhupada?
That which is not.
That which is not Krishna. So what is Maya then? For us?
Everything but Krishna.
So Maya is our conception, basically. Yes. We want things separate from Krishna. And that is our Maya. Because if Krishna is not there, what can I do? If Krishna is not there, I can enjoy. I can take for myself. I can be the enjoyer and the benefactor. Yes. That is why we are attached to Maya. We are attached to this position of Purushava, to be the controller and the enjoyer. But that position is stopping us from developing love for Krishna. So we've been speaking about how to develop love for Krishna, and today we want to go to the root. Because if we prepare our heart, then we will definitely make a garden that is receptive to receive the seed of love, the Bhakti Lata Beach. So there's a verse I would like to share with you. There's no purport, but this verse is very, very significant, and if we have time, I would like to share with you two alternatives of the told pastime, Dhana Lila. Yes, we'll see if we have time. Anyway, we'll try to do it. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Okay, are you ready for this jewel? That it should be sweet.
Apple also?
Yeah. Okay. Surin mitrari dasina madhyashtat veshya bandhushu sadhusvapi cha papeshu samabhudir vishishyate. Translation. A person is considered still further advanced when he regards honest well-wishers, affectionate benefactors, the neutral mediators, the envious, friends and enemies, the pious and the sinners, all with an equal mind. It's amazing. Equanimity. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyanam Jarasharakaya Chakshurun Miritam Jaina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Stapitam Jaina Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kantha Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyashta Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Sarasvati Deve Gaurani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Okay, so where should we start? Okay, first thing is when you really want love for Radha and Krishna, for Srila Prabhupada, when this is your utmost desire, Krishna has to do something. He has to change your heart. Yes, because our heart is not ready yet to love Krishna. Otherwise, Krishna would appear when we chant the holy name. But they said when you chant one pure name, Krishna appears. He gives you his darshan, just one name. This isn't choosing. We should strive to chant purely. If you just chant one pure name, Krishna will appear to you. So that's what we strive for, to chant with love. So, yes, when we truly desire to love Krishna, Krishna has to make some special arrangements in the heart. And the first thing that he does, he shows you the nature of this world. And after that, this world cannot fake it anymore. You see this world for what it truly is. Yes. In a class, I remember a couple of years ago, it really touched me. Sachinand Maharaj, he was screaming, "You don't know what love is! You don't know what love is! You don't know what love is! This is not love!" And I thought that was really interesting. Yes, we don't know what love is yet. Love is very special. Yes. Prabhupada in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, he says that love in this material world is a reflection of prema. He explains that when prema descends in this world, because this world is a reflected perversion of the spiritual world. So everything we experience here is a reflection of Braj, ultimately. But it is a perverted reflection. So when that prema descends upon this world, how is it perverted? I'm asking, maybe some of you know. How does it manifest itself in this world, prema?
Selfishly.
Selfishly, yes. What else? There's a very simple definition by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami
Yes,
in
the
the...
desire to gratify one's own senses is called kama,
Yes,
and the desire to gratify Krishna's senses is called prema.
exactly. That's it. So, but how does it why is it manifesting in a perverted way here? How is it manifesting, this prema?
Prabhupada gave this the tree example.
Yes.
On the bank of any river or something.
Mhm.
So, I mean,
Just
one
like a tree.
understanding, yeah.
Just
the
like a
highest
tree in
is
the water.
lowest here.
Yes. But he gives a specific answer. He says that actually, because this world is made of the mode of passion, the modes of nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance. So actually, this prema, this pure love, it becomes filtered or colored or covered by passion and ignorance. So it is filtered through passion and ignorance, and it becomes
Romantic love.
kama,
Okay.
lust. So actually, love in this world is lust. That is true. So, yes. So that is why we have to understand the true nature of love and the true nature of this world. Everything is perverted in this world. This is a world of exploitation. Why?
World is of cheated and cheaters.
Cheated and cheaters, yes.
Everyone thinks that they're the center.
Everyone thinks that they are the center. What else? We try to imitate Radha and Krishna, isn't it? No? We said earlier that rasa is the origin of creation. And what is the origin of rasa? Radha and Krishna, the divine couple. Their union is the source of everything. So that's why everything comes from this reciprocity between Radha and Krishna. This is something important to understand also. So that's why we try to imitate Radha and Krishna. In a book on transcendental psychology, Suhotra Maharaj, he said something that I will never forget, and that really chilled me to my bones. He said that we are energy of Krishna. Do you agree with this? We are an energy of Krishna, no? We're the Jiva Shakti. We're an energy of Krishna, and what is the nature of Krishna's energies? What are they meant to do? Maybe we share that verse from the 6th canto of Bhagavatam, no? Where Lakshmi, she expresses how she manifests herself through the forms of this world. Do you remember that? So she said that actually, Lakshmi herself, she says that. In this world, I manifest all the forms of this world, all the objects of the senses. But because I manifest them as an offering, as a form of worship and offering to my worshipable Lord. So the nature of every energy of Krishna, including this body, this very own body that we have, is coming from Lakshmi, or we could say then Durga Devi. But this body is meant to serve and worship and love Krishna too. Everything is by Krishna and for Krishna. Everything is meant to serve and worship Him and love Him. Even this body. And that's why we are really off actually in our understanding, perception and application of this body, very own body and Krishna's energy that is manifested through the objects of the senses, the environment. This is something very important. This very own body is meant to serve and worship Krishna. That's true. Lakshmi herself, are we agreeing with Lakshmi's opinion here? Lakshmi herself is expressing that. In the 6th canto. Yeah. So yes, I was saying about this book on transcendental psychology really made me think deeply about myself. So he said that we are energy of Krishna, but we are trying to enjoy Krishna's energy. Doesn't it seem off to you? We're Krishna's energy, but we're trying to enjoy Krishna's energy. Something is off there. No? What is off?
Krishna is out.
Krishna is on? Something is not working here. What you think is the problem here? Think about it for a
It
second.
cannot do it. It falls short each time it tries to do that.
It falls short every
Yeah.
time we try to enjoy Krishna's energy. Why?
Because it doesn't have the capacity to enjoy.
Because?
It doesn't have the capacity to enjoy. Just like a hand cannot eat itself, it has to feed the mouth.
So you say it doesn't have the capacity. It has. It's Satchitananda. It has the capacity to enjoy.
No, but not. It only has the capacity to enjoy only when in relationship with Krishna. It cannot enjoy by itself.
Okay. Yes. I accept that.
It's more like the sun and the sun rays. So
Yes.
sun rays won't exist without the suns, but we just want sun rays, not the sun, so it won't exist.
We want the sun rays, not the sun. We don't want the whole. Yes, definitely. So we have this capacity to enjoy, but not on ourselves, not on our own. We're not independent enjoyers.
Yeah.
We're dependent. We are tatasta. Tatasta. Tatasta Shakti. It's another name for the jiva. Tatasta. What is another definition of tatasta? Assistant. we're meant to assist Krishna's energies. This is our position. We're meant to assist. And this is beautiful. So what do they do in Goloka Vrindavan? They assist Radha and Krishna. So that's what we're meant to do. There's nothing small in this. There's nothing like cheap in this. It's the utmost expression of the self. It's the greatest position we can ever aspire to attain, to be assistants. But where we are off is because of this Purusha Bhav, that's the main thing, this feeling of Purush. We think we are Krishna. This is the false ego. The false ego makes us think that we are the controller and the enjoyer. So the Purusha Bhav, the false ego is influenced by this contaminated feeling where we think that we are the controller and the enjoyer. And that in itself creates all the complications in our life. So it's very important to understand this. So the point is that when we speak about this, it's not that we are condemning, it's just that we're trying to understand a really very true nature here and act according to our true nature. Because Paro Dharma, Yado Bhakti Radhakshaji, no, this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 2, verse 6, that the supreme occupation of the soul is Yato Bhakti Radhakshaji. Yes, it's to serve. So this is the eternal nature of the soul, to serve. So, yes, where it is a problem is that we're an energy of Krishna, but we are trying to enjoy Krishna's energy. And when I heard that, I was thinking for a sec, but what is Krishna's energy we're trying to enjoy? Durga, which is a manifestation of Lakshmi, which is an expansion of Radharani. So indirectly, it's like we're trying to enjoy Radharani. Krishna lets us think that we enjoy is a counterpart, in terms of his material energy. Because for Krishna, it's not the material energy. It's like Lakshmi and Narayan. And when Lakshmi, she says that she sees the forms of this world, and now she worships the Lord, she sees her worshipable Lord, Narayan, Lakshmi Narayan. So it's really important. This is the nature of, we have to understand first who we are. That's the first question. But it's not a simple question. To understand who we are, it's something that is really deep. Why is it so deep? To understand who we are. What makes it such a deep thing? This is interesting.
Because we're covered up, we have no idea who we are.
We're covered up. We have no idea who we are.
Yeah, we are in darkness.
We're in darkness.
We've been being told our whole life that we're what we're not.
We're being told our whole life that we are what we're not. Exactly, just like Prabhupada said, it's like a madhouse. Because we all think we're something we are not.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. So, yes, to understand who we are is something really deep, because we're meant to become Brajabasis.
Mm-hmm.
Eternal associates of Radha and Krishna, and this is not a cheap feat or a cheap expression of the self. Because to be part of Krishna's world is something that is extraordinary. It's a world of love, of sweetness. And to be able to associate with Krishna, we need to have a body that is eligible to associate with Krishna, which makes it very special. Because everyone is perfect in Vrindavan. So our body, we receive a body that is perfect, and that is able to reciprocate with that perfection of love. And not only love, but that intensity of feelings, because the feelings that are shared, if I have time, I will share with you in the told pastime. We see that love is very deep in Braj, just like Maharaj was saying the other day, when we were in last Saturday. Yes, he was saying about what is it? I'm missing the point here. Yes, Mother Yashoda, exactly. Thank you, Krishna. So Mother Yashoda, she could die 1,000,000 times just to wipe the sweat, one drop of sweat from his face. So it shows you the intensity of her love. So we hear from the Acharyas that when the devotee, the Vaishnava, he experiences love for Krishna, it's like millions of volcanoes in eruption in the heart. It's like a tsunami that is completely drowning us. This is love, something really deep. So, yes, the problem is that we identify ourselves with this body, and also with this Purusha, we think we are the controller and the enjoyer. And the problem with that is that we become the center. And this is a real problem for us, because the soul is meant to assist. And this is our true expression. But when we try to be the center of life, and not only that, but we want to be the center for others also. We want to be the shelter for others. Then there's a problem too. Because in that, we still are trying to take the whole place. And we don't give Krishna his natural place that is there. Just like Prabhupada says in the Nectar of Instruction, we're into spiritual communism. Why?
Because we depend on the Lord to give us whatever we need.
We depend on the Lord, yes, but he says that actually spiritual communism means Krishna, Radha and Krishna are the center, and we all revolve around the center. And that's how there is peace and harmony. This is Daiva Varnashram Dharma. It's that when we put Krishna in the center and we do our duties, to please Krishna. There's a verse in Bhagavatam that says that. We do our duties to please Krishna, because Krishna is the center of everything. But this is something that is very subtle for ourselves. Even in devotional service, Prabhupada says in the Nectar of Devotion, chapter 21, that we can feel completely in bliss in devotional service, thinking that this is bhakti, but it is only the false ego which is enjoying. This is a very interesting point. We think we are complete bliss, but it's just the false ego who is enjoying and receiving and taking proprietorship of our experiences, even in devotional service. So, yes, if we want to develop love for Krishna, we have to meditate on all of these things, and we have to understand what are the ingredients that are needed so that our garden can receive the seed of love. What is missing, and what are the impediments, the obstacles in our life. And this is the first obstacle, actually, this Purusha Bhav. Because when we try to be the center for others and for ourselves and for our environment, then we stop this natural flow of grace that is there. Bhakti-Tata Swami expresses that in one of his books on the Spiritual Warrior series. He says there's a natural flow of bhakti that is there everywhere, because everything is meant to serve and worship Krishna. So bhakti is always there, even in this material world. Prabhupada said if the whole world would be devotees, then this will be Vaikuntha. Because he said it's the same energy. He says in the Bhagavad Gita, it's the same energy, but according to our consciousness, it can be either the external energy, Mahamaya, or the internal energy, Yogamaya. It's just a question of consciousness here. So that's why, just like Prahlad Maharaj, it's not that the Lord was far away. When Hiranyakashipu, he told him, so where is your Lord? He said, is he in a pillar? Yes. For him, he was everywhere. Because everything he was seeing, it was in his relationship with his worshipable Lord. So for him, Vishnu was fully present in the pillar, and he came out. So in this instance, it shows us that the Lord is already there, everywhere. It's not that he's only in Goloka Vrindavan, he's there in your heart, as the Paramatma. He's everywhere. He's always present. But at the same time, due to his love and compassion, he lets us be subordinate controllers and think that he just gives us these coverings, make us feel that we are the controller and the enjoyer. So the problem in that is that if we think we are important for ourselves, we think we are an important person, and we think that we're important to others. And this again is an obstacle to developing love for Krishna. Why? It's in the title of the class.
The title is the exclusivity for Krishna.
Yes. Okay. How is that the answer?
If we think we're important, then we still think we're Purusha.
If we think we are important, we still think we are Purusha. Exactly. And the thing is that if we think we're important and we want to be important for others because we're the soul and we are meant to enjoy and to love, we will want relationships for ourselves and they will take the whole place in our heart and there will be no more place left for Krishna. That is a reality. And because Krishna is exclusive, 100%, we'll speak about that. We forgot to speak about it yesterday. That was the title of the class. I'm sorry. We went in another direction. But I want to speak about that today. Because we will never be able to receive love for Krishna in our heart if we don't understand this. And if we don't put space in our heart for Krishna. Because first, before him, there are things that are more important than him. People that are more important. So, yes, that's a problem. We'll think we are Purush. And the thing is that because Krishna, he has all the qualities. And he feels that he can reciprocate with everybody. He can give shelter to anyone. He can satisfy everyone. That is his legitimacy because he's Krishna. He has all the qualities. He's Purush. Krishna can. But when we are influenced by that Purush mentality, we think we can do the same. We can be a shelter for others. That we can fully love others and fully be loved by others. And this is a problem. Because the soul is 1/10,000 the tip of a hair. And when you want to love Krishna, Krishna makes you feel that you are 1/10,000 the tip of a hair. He puts you at your place, which is good. It's good to be small. It's good to be small and insignificant. There's no problem with that. That's how we can be picked up just like a blade of grass, a straw, easily picked up by this breeze of grace that is bringing us towards the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada and Radha and Krishna. It's good to be small. But because we think we're important, we think we have the capacity to fully give shelter and love others and fully be loved by others also. Whereas everyone is 1/10,000 the tip of a hair. So our capacity to love and to be loved by everyone in this world is very small. That's why we can never, ever give full satisfaction to others. And nobody in this world ever can give us full satisfaction. This is not a problem. This is just the way it is. This is the nature of the soul. We're very small. But this is when we put Krishna in the center that we experience this wholeness, even in relationships. Because if on our own, we try to love someone without putting Krishna in the center, without serving Krishna in that relationship, trying to love Krishna in that relationship, then what happens? The other person will only experience our minute love and will never be satisfied with it. Plus, not only that, the soul has a beautiful capacity to love, but because we are covered by the body that is imperfect, because the nature of this world is imperfection, the body we receive is not only temporary but limited, and our capacity to give with this body has limitations also, depending on our karma. And because of that, our capacity to love, give shelter, to reciprocate is limited. And that's why with that also, we cannot give the full expression of our love. We can in our heart, but there will always be some certain limitations. And why I say that, it's not to condemn, but it's to position ourselves properly so that we can truly love others. So what does it mean to truly love others?
Without any expectations, unconditionally.
Without expectations. There's something
No.
deeper than that.
Is to connect them to Krishna and put Krishna in the center of a relationship.
Yes, to connect them to Krishna and put Krishna in the center of a relationship. Why? Because actually,
Only Krishna can love them. Nobody else can love them.
only Krishna can love them, and also Krishna is the source of everything. He's Rasa Raj. Krishna is Rasa, Radharani is Prema. Krishna is the source of all relationships, all reciprocations, all feelings. Well, Radharani. And Radharani is Prema, the source of all feelings, of all love, emotions. So this is a very important, that's why Radha and Krishna, they are the origin of creation. Rasa is the origin of creation because there's Rasa, Krishna, and Radharani, which is Prema. Very, very, very important. This is the science of relationships, for those who are a little scientific. I know some of these here. So yes, rasa and prema. So anyway, how is it that a man and a woman can love each other and be a couple, have conjugal love, be married and experience that reciprocation as husband and wife, a mother with her child? Everything is coming from Radha and Krishna. Like, how can a mother love her child like she does? This is coming from Mother Yashoda. She is the origin of Vatsalya Ras, of maternal love. And Radha and Krishna, they are the origin of Madhurya Ras, of conjugal love. So actually, the only reason why we experience these reciprocations, reciprocity, how do you say? Reciprocity or reciprocation?
Yeah, yes.
Reciprocation, no? Because in French we say it differently. These reciprocations is because Krishna is present as rasa. And that dynamic, we experience it because Krishna is there. The potency of rasa is there in every relationship, whether it is in this world, relationship of Madhurya, of Vatsalya, of Sakya. The potency is coming from the relationships in the spiritual world. That is the only reason why we experience these feelings with each other. So where's friendship coming on? When we joke with each other, when we crack a joke, when we laugh, roll in the ground so much we're laughing. It all happened to us. So this is coming from the Sakas, from Krishna's relationship with Balaram as his brother, Madhu Mangala as his dearmost, or I should say Subhasaka, is their most intimate friend. So this is very important. Everything we experience in this world is our potencies of the spiritual world. And that's why when the point is, if we don't recognize the potencies that are present because of the mercy of Radha and Krishna to make us experience these relationships in this world, then what happens after that is that we will miss something very important. And we don't allow others to fully experience that love also. This is the problem. And we contaminate ourselves by thinking that we are the Purush. And the thing in that is that we will give to others only the faults and the qualities of our conditioning. And how much do we have in this conditioning? Because we don't have much, what we'll give won't be so much. That's true. We should be honest with ourselves. That's not a problem. We're not this body. This body is very limited. And the soul is beautiful. And Krishna says, knowledge of the soul, 239? No, 29 in the Bhagavad Gita. Knowledge about the soul is wonderful, amazing. Experience of the soul is amazing. Realization of the soul is astonishing. And Krishna says that. Because the soul is meant to be an eternal associate of Radha and Krishna. So that's why it's really important to understand these points, because otherwise we will not be able to receive love in our heart, because we will want to love on our own capacity. We won't want to connect ourselves to the source of love and affection, the source of all feelings. And because of that, what we will give will be very small, and according to the conditioning that we have been given in this life. And then we only share the faults and qualities of our conditioning. And the love that we will share will not be substantial enough for someone to realize oneself also. Because we inject someone that is temporary and falls in the heart of other living entities. That's why, and Srimad Bhagavatam is quite cutting, but these are things we should meditate on since we're devotees of the Lord. And Prabhupada wanted us to become pure devotees in this very lifetime. Rishabhadev says in 5th canto that if a parent or a teacher or a guru or a leader cannot liberate his dependents from the cycle of birth and death, then he should not take these responsibilities. Why? Because otherwise we are doing violence to the soul. In our capacity to love others, when we don't put Krishna in the relationships and in the center of our relationships, we do violence to others. Why? Because we want them to be attached to us. And attached to us means what? attached to this world. So this is the problem. So we're doing actually violence to each other when we don't put Krishna in the center. This is the truth, and that's why the relationships, they cannot be fully satisfying. They cannot be wholesome. They cannot be transcendental, and they can only be binding, frustrating, suffering. If we see, that's true. In ISKCON, there's more than 50% of divorce. How is that? We're devotees. How come there's so many divorces? That's true. I mean, it seems that it should be less. How come there's so much divorce? Because we do not situate ourselves properly in the relationships. And why I say that, again, it's not to condemn, but it's that we can develop pure love. And one point is that when we put Krishna in the center of our relationships, but there's a secret there, is that we have to understand how the Brajabasis they do. This is the secret and the key to act in our relationships in this world. How do the Brajabasis they love each other? How they reciprocate with each other in Vrindavan? This is the secret here.
This may be a good gateway for Dana Leela.
Sorry?
This may be a good gateway for Dana Leela.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Why not? Okay, because
Time is running.
okay. Let's finish with that.
Yes.
So how do the Brajabasis, what is the dynamic of the emotional dynamics of the Brajabasis? This is the key. This is how we need to love and reciprocate and relate to others. This is how the Brajabasis do. This is the secret. So how do they do? How come do they love so much each other? Because for example, okay, beautiful example. When a Saka meets his mother, why is there so much love between the Saka and his mother?
Because they both love Krishna a lot.
Because they both love Krishna. Yes, exactly. They both love Krishna. And actually, when they meet each other, what is meeting is their love for Krishna, for Radha and Krishna. So that's why they love so much each other. Because when the mother, she embraces her son, her Saka, her son, then she feels her son's love for Krishna and Balaram. And she experiences Krishna and Balaram through her son. And her son, when he is loved by his mother, what does he experience?
Love.
The love his mother has for Krishna. Because naturally the mothers of Braj, just like we see in the Brahma Vimohan Lila, they have more love for Krishna, because Krishna is Krishna. Okay. That's it. Hey, I see a lovely face here. On the So yes, exactly. Yes, we that's the secret. They love so much the other Brajabasis because when they meet each other, they meet Krishna also. But at the same time, Krishna wants them to love the other Brajabasis. Krishna likes that. But you understand the dynamic that is there? It's because Krishna is in the center, but again, Krishna wants the devotees to love other devotees. So this is the dynamic, but it's always with Krishna in the center. And then this makes perfect love, complete love, harmonious love. This is the secret to perfect relationships in a complicated, limited material world. Or I should say, again, contaminating material world. This is the secret. If you want to have better relationships as a couple, as a family, in between brahmacharis, between a mother and a child, this is the secret. Don't go anywhere else. If you want true psychology, understand the psychology of the Brajabasis. It would be a nice seminar, the psychology of the Brajabasis. Because the Brajabasis, when they look at us here, they must say, wow, what are these guys doing here? This is pretty weird. Like imagine in their mentality, when they look at us, it must be quite a show when they look at how we're, reciprocating in this world, trying to steal Krishna's things and everything. It must be quite particular. Imagine if they will sit and look at us, trying to reciprocate in this world. That will be particular for them. So that's why Braj is so important. Braj Lila is so essential in our life, because we can understand the true emotional dynamics of a devotee. And we could give so many more classes on that. But to finish on a sweet note, And I have two Dhana Lila. Ooh, this
You
is
want
a
it.
hard choice. Okay. Okay. Let's do it. Can I have a little bit of water, please?
It's Maharaj.
Thank you. So, but before I do share the Lila, is there any questions or comments? Yes?
I was wondering about obtaining a spiritual body.
Okay.
I was wondering, is it due to our karma that we can perhaps obtain it in this lifetime, or do we always have to take another birth in order to obtain it?
Okay. Thank you so much. The answer is in the Chaitanya Shikshamrita of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. There are two kinds of perfections. One is sadhana siddhi, and the other one is
Kripa.
kripa siddhi. Sadhana siddhi is perfection that is attained through our own sadhana. It can take many lifetimes. By chanting, we can definitely by chanting attain love of God. Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains we can receive the Ekadasha Bhav, all the 11 different components of our Svarup, of our spiritual form, our name, our form, our qualities, our dress, our home, our parents, everything. Just by chanting we can obtain that, but it can take many lifetimes. So we can attain perfection through our sadhana, but it takes many lifetimes. By perfection through our sadhana. Because in Madhura Kanambeni, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that when we arrive at Ashakti, which is very elevated platform of devotional service, then we can, in our next life, be introduced in Boma Vrindavan, in the womb of our eternal mother. And then we meet our group leader who will train us in loving Radha and Krishna and serving them. But it takes many lifetimes. Okay? There's another siddhi, Kripa siddhi. And this is where Maharaj, many classes, he says, we have special mercy of Srila Prabhupada, and this is the special mercy of Srila Prabhupada. It's Kripa siddhi. Kripa siddhi is perfection that is attained either from directly Radha and Krishna or one of their eternal associates. And that Kripa siddhi, Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains, is much more direct, accessible, and quick and easy than the sadhana siddhi. This is the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. He said, I will make you enter through the back door. Perfection that is attained by the direct mercy of Srila Prabhupada or one of his qualified disciples or guru.
This
Yes.
Kripa siddhi, it seems a little contradicting because you were saying that the Brajabasis have perfect bodies. And I'm thinking how with our contaminated body, how
Yes.
can we move in that direction if they're material?
That's a very, very nice question. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives it all. In his commentary on the Srimad Bhagavatam, he says first we go to Boma Vrindavan. But just like Prabhupada said in his introduction to Krishna book, Krishna goes from one universe to the next, just like a transcendental caravan, and we're meant, our perfection for ourselves is to take birth in the universe where Krishna performs his pastimes again. So eternally Krishna does that. So when we, either from sadhana siddhi or kripa siddhi, which is perfection mostly for us, because it's rare that it is directly from Radha and Krishna, but that we receive from an eternal associate of the Lord, like Srila Prabhupada, then we take birth in our next life in Boma Vrindavan, in the womb of our eternal mother. But what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says in Madhura Kanambeni is we're not completely perfect yet. And actually, all of our anarthas, he says, for example, the anarthas or the offenses that are there against the Vaishnavas or the holy name, everything gets completely purified when we meet Krishna face to face. But what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains, we get a body that is similar to our own body, just like Gopa Kumar. He was in the material world with a body that was like his own. He had the body of a Gopa, that was his true body. But Vishwanath explains when we get that body, because we're not pure yet, the body that we receive is not completely spiritual, but has the same look. And because we are surrounded by Nitya Siddhas, eternal associates of the Lord, for example, our mother is an eternal associate. She takes us, she's the first to introduce us in Boma Vrindavan, in her womb. It's beautiful. Huh? Your mother is an eternal associate. She's waiting for you. So that's why we should cry. We should cry for a true mother, for a true father, for our true brothers and sisters. And this is what we should cry for. Our mother and father are waiting for you right now, you know. So yes, you take, but the body, even like for example Krishna, when they manifest, it's not also the full expression. So because it's in Boma Vrindavan, it's a little different. You understand? So the body that we receive is not completely pure, but because we're surrounded by Brajabasis or eternal associates, including our mother who feeds us with prema at the beginning, so something is working there. The milk that you receive from your mother is liquid prema, so it starts there already. Right from birth. And then you get to associate with your group leader, with your eternal guru. And then that group leader will teach you how to love Radha and Krishna. Your Yukteshwar. That's how it works. In the same rasa like you, but you are of the same rasa like him or her. Whether it's a gopa or a gopi or a bird or a parrot or a cow or a flower or a beetle, a bee, whatever it is. Even bees, they have gurus. Bees, they have group leaders too. It's beautiful. So then, in that, you become purified by associating with your group leader and the Brajabasis, and first of all your mother, and then you get to develop love from that. There actually what is described, you can only develop bhav there. Prema is when we go to Goloka Vrindavan, so we can develop bhav there. So the budding stage of prema, and then we become qualified after that. The example of that is there are a group of gopis. They could not meet Krishna during the rasa dance. They are this kind of, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains, they were not qualified yet, pure enough yet to meet Krishna face to face in the rasa dance. And what happened is that their husbands, they forbid them from leaving the home. And they were in so much separation from Krishna that they left their body. And this was their final test to go and meet Krishna face to face after that. So this is one example. But in generally speaking, we are trained by our group leader in the association of these pure Brajabasis in Boma Vrindavan, which is exactly a replica, it's like a bubble. Then, and being part of the pastimes also, then gradually we become purified, and then with that purification we become perfect, and then after that we can meet Radha and Krishna face to face. Well, no, it's like when we meet Radha and Krishna face to face, then perfection is attained. Sorry. That's when everything is purified forever and ever, for eternity. Vishwanath explains that, for eternity. That's why there's no more coming down after that. No way Jose coming back after meeting Krishna face to face. I'm sorry, I don't believe that for a sec. No way Jose. Impossible. How can you leave Krishna? Impossible. No. It's because we don't know, we have never experienced Krishna that we can speak like that. Impossible. How can you live a perfect world where there's no enmity, no enviousness, everything is perfect? You're completely carried away by millions of oceans of ecstasies, of the loving dealings of Krishna and the Brajabasis. No. So, yes. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Huh? We have to thank Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur for that. Yeah. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Anything else before we share this pastime? Or should we end here? What do you think, Siddharth?
I think we should end the pastime.
Okay.
That's okay with you?
Yes, of course. Yes. Okay. Just a sec. Yes. Okay, so dear devotees, this will be a very special journey. We will journey to Vrindavan, and more especially Sankarechor, that special place. It's a little place that is there in between Vishnu Parvat and Brahma Parvat. There's this little corridor in between the two hills where the Sakis are taxed by Krishna, and I have a very beautiful pastime which to share with you. But you have to keep it in your heart. Is that all right? That's the only thing I'm asking you.
With your blessings.
Okay, so close your eyes for a sec and just prepare your heart to receive this sweet lila, and let it rock your heart so that you can receive that love for Krishna. Although these pots, so imagine the gopis, they're there with all the pots on their head, starts like that. Although these pots certainly weighed a lot, they were so light that they caused no discomfort to the gopis. They sensed the joy of being in contact with Radhika and engaged in her pastimes. As they descended the hill, the gopis began to talk to each other. Lalita walked in front of the group. The gopis were expert at walking on this hill, and as they descended towards the village, they took, as usual, a narrow path between two hills. They walked in a single file, and a few obstacles on the path made their steps seem like a dance, and the movements of their bodies were very attractive. The edges of the path were strewn with beautiful flowering trees, giving off a wonderful fragrance. These trees were absorbed in very deep feelings and offered their petals as a token of their loving service. The gopis were very pleased with this, and as a reward, they sometimes touched and praised them. Seeing their magnanimous attitude, the Sakis' consciousness was elated. They said, "Oh, flowering trees, your love for Krishna is so profound that in the ecstasy you feel for him, your bodies are covered with an eruption of flowers, and tears of love in the form of a shower of petals flow from your eyes. Certainly he is the most charming and merciful of beings. Do not worry. He will surely pass by here and grant you his audience. We alone are neglected by him, and our hearts burn in separation to meet him. But by passing this path, knowing that you are his great devotees, hope has arisen in us, for he always comes to visit those who have love for him. Now you have so much love for him that this meeting with you will certainly give us the opportunity to see him. We are like you. He has taken our hearts, and we live only for him. What more can we say? We wander endlessly in search of him, praying to Providence to guide our steps toward him." The gopis, led by Radharani, placed their pots on the ground. They began touching the trees and shedding tears. The gopis' tears resembled drops of gold, and the tree petals resembled jewels. They united in the gopis' ecstasy, and through them, they reached the apotheosis of love, the peak of love. The atmosphere was surcharged with such prema that even the stones of this hill, which was made of jewels, melted. In fact, the hill itself embraced the gopis' feet and joined them in ecstasy. All the animals also joined them and wept. The clouds shed tears of love, and the wind carried flower petals and drops of water to their feet to worship their lotus feet. Krishna watched the scene with his sakas. They were hidden in a little higher up behind some trees. Seeing Radhika and her beloved gopis, his heart melted. This is love. And tears began to flow from his eyes as he contemplated the marvelous form of Radharani. He saw her hugging that tree and tasting separation from him. He thought, this tree is so fortunate. What has he done in his life to have such an opportunity? Certainly in secret, I will go to him and beg for his mercy. His power is so great that my Priya is now praying to him for my darshan. I am overwhelmed by the sight of such a scene. I thought I could freely approach him, but now his emotions are so deep and wonderful that they paralyze me. I find myself transported to his feet, and tears flow from my eyes. My entire mind becomes absorbed in his trance. But what is happening to me? I feel as if a vast ocean is carrying me away. Where am I going? Radha is carrying my heart away. My mind is no longer under my control. The other sakas were also rocked by this swang, by this ocean of emotion at the sight of this unique scene. But through the arrangement of Yoga Maya, the pastime energy, Krishna regained consciousness and, along with his friends, came out of hiding. They were disguised as tax collectors. Krishna wore a huge turban and a false mustache, and he held a large stick in his left hand. He said, "O chaste maidservants, do you not know that this place can only be used if one pays tribute to the king of this region, who bears the names of Kamadev?" Hearing that marvelous voice, rumbling like thunder and announcing an impending shower of nectar, the gopis' minds were shaken out of their trance, and they turned their faces towards that voice. Radha, her eyes still filled with tears and her mind still half absorbed, gazed with doe-like eyes at this handsome young man approaching her. Her ecstasy was so strong that she could not put a name to this figure who was stealing her mind away. Who is this person who is stealing my heart away? All the hairs on her body stood on end, and her left arm began to wave. She quickly covered her face out of chastity and continued to observe this handsome young man. She was stunned by what emanated from him. His gait was simply captivating. His playfulness emanating from him was so alluring, not to mention the sound emanating from his ornaments. She thought, it must be true that he is Kamadev's representative, for he alone constitutes an army of cupids. What is happening to me? She bowed her head, lost in thought. She reflected on the circumstance. I must certainly be condemned, for just now I was crying out for my beloved, but now this person who appears before me attracts me like a magnet, placing me in a critical situation. I am losing all chastity in the presence of an invisible force. What will happen to me? Oh, Providence, come to my aid! Radhika had her head bowed, but the sound of the small bells ringing from the dance of Krishna's feet overwhelmed her with bliss and attracted her irresistibly. She could not help but watch him approach. Also, through her shyness and ecstasy, her body manifested a captivating charm. She became the embodiment of Cupid's arrow, which penetrated deeply into Krishna's heart. Seeing her in this disarming posture, he wanted to touch her, but her Sakis came between her and this handsome tax collector. Adita said, "Oh, hey, who are you to want to approach such chaste young girls like us without shame? Don't you know that we are entrusted with sending offerings under the orders of the Queen of Barshana to the village of Javat? Who allows you to interfere in such a situation?" Krishna, in his disguised voice,
"Oh, dear chaste young girls, let me introduce myself. My name is Bogri Gopal, the commander of Kamadev's."
My name is what?
Bogri Gopal.
Bogi?
Bogri. The commander of Kamadev's army, and I am in charge of collecting the toll for this place.
Champakalata says, "What are you telling us? We have never heard of such a king existing in this region." Krishna, "What?
You live here in this region, and you're not even in Kamadev's subjects? This shows that you must be arrested and brought before Kamadev's court."
Krishna looked at Madhu Mangal and winked. Madhu Mangal says, "Then these young girls are in an illegal situation, O tax master, and according to the law, their crime must be punished." Vishaka, "What kind of crime have we committed? We're taking this path like all the inhabitants of this region." Subal says, "Yes, that's true, but the only difference is that you alone do not pay tribute to King Kamadev, and that is why we have come to this place to arrest you. This has reached the ears of our king." Madhu Mangal, "Let's see the merchandise you are carrying. Please remove the tops covering these pots of gold so that I can determine the amount of the toll for the passage." Chitra said, "Hey, please stay away from these offerings." Lalita, she blocked Madhu Mangal, and the girls, they put their pots behind them to protect them. And she said, "We don't know what kind of highway robbers you are, but please leave us alone, and we will be late in our daily activities." Subal, "Dear chaste girl, in your unlawful situation, I do not advise you to become angry, as this may only worsen your situation." Krishna, addressing Madhu Mangal, What should we do? What should we do in this situation when faced with people who do not wish to submit to King Kamadev?" Madhu Mangal, "I think we should gently reason with them to pay their taxes. But for that, I will have to see what they are carrying. After all, we will be lenient this time and collect only a portion of what they are carrying. On the other hand, if they refuse, we will be obliged to seize all their belongings by force." Subal, "Yes, let's give them some time to think about this." So the gopis, through Yogamaya's arrangement, they became perplexed for a sec, and they consulted among themselves. And Induleka, she approached Radha and she said, "But what do you think of all this?" And Radha, she said, "Oh, Induleka, Oh, Anduleka, you whose charm is captivating, if you were not representatives of Kamadev, how could the commander-in-chief of his armies have such attractive power? I am confused, and I don't know what to make of this situation. Lalita, we must proceed with caution. How can we not believe that all this is not a charade, solely for the purpose of robbing us of our goods? Chitra, I think we are outnumbered and must reach a compromise. In any case, he will only take a small portion of these offerings. That's what the one with the small belly who claims to be the one in charge of measuring the tax told us. Madhu Mangal. Rangadevi, yes, I think we should go that way. I support Chitra. What do you think, Radha? Radhavani, she was in a strange state because of her situation. So her mind, her heart, and all her limbs were attracted to this tax collector. She didn't know what to do and replied without really being present. Yes, me too. He is so attractive. But in reality, her heart had gone already with this handsome young man. So what can we say about his thought? Then Krishna returned to Radhika and he said, so, chaste maiden with lotus eyes, you who with the beauty of your eyes have the power to pierce the heart and make men like us charitable, what have you decided? Radha looked at Lalita and bowed her head. Lalita said, we have consulted as you requested, and we have expressed doubt that you might indeed be representatives of a king unknown to us in this region. But at the same time, we are not completely convinced, so we propose a deal. As your tax judge explained to us, he has exceptionally agreed to take only a small portion of our merchandise. Therefore, we will open our jars for him to judge the tax. So the gopis, they each placed their pots at their feet and they opened them. And there was a delicious aroma that came out of each pot and came into Madhu Mangal's nostrils. Ooh, what is this? And he approached with a very serious expression and examined their contents. So he became really happy when he saw the beautiful rasgullas, the kheer, the yogurt, and so on. And he said, oh, this is prudent and reasonable. I think a third of each pot can be collected for Master Kamadev. Chitra, oh, judge of taxes, how will you transport this tax to your king? I don't see any containers with you. Madhu Mangal, this king Kamadev is special. He receives his tribute through our stomachs. Just as the Lord eats through the mouths of the Brahmanas, King Kamadev eats through our mouths. So the gopis, they looked at each other and they found this really strange.
Yeah.
So they talked among themselves and they thought, but what if these are bandits disguised as tax collectors? But they were outnumbered this time and caught off guard. So Lalita, she was kind of playing along. She spoke a sec to free her friends from their predicament. And she said, okay, we will give you a portion of food so that you can satisfy your king, your stomachs, and give us back our freedom. So Subal, yes, we will give you back your freedom only when we have satisfied our king by eating his due portion of food. In any case, these guards will not allow you to leave. So, seeing the situation, the gopis, they had no choice but to ask Krishna and his friends to serve them cup-shaped leaves, because in Braj, the trees are wish-fulfilling trees, and some trees, they have beautiful cups and plates so that they use to serve prasada. So the gopis, they serve them shape-shaped leaves collected from a tree that resides there for the Leela. And Krishna and some of his friends, they formed a confidential circle of the tax court, gathered in a circle to taste the preparations. So before eating Madhu Mangal, like a great actor, he pretended to perform a completely invented ritual. He raised his arms and his eyes into the sky and said in a loud deep voice, "Oh, great Kamadev! Your greatness extends to all lands and to the hearts of these young girls now. May you be satisfied through these offerings that our mouths and stomachs are about to absorb." So, he was doing something so kind of like caricatural that the boy, they tried to remain serious. They were almost cracking, laughing when they heard like Madhu Mangal's like ironic words. But it was nothing short of miraculous. Then they ate and they were looking at each other and very happy to cheat these poor gopis who were being guarded there by the other cowherd boy. So, but at the same time, Krishna could not help but discreetly gaze at Radharani's beauty and also at Radhika at the same time. So, and sometimes their eyes will meet and it will cause like an outpouring of feelings in their hearts, so much that they will bow their heads because Krishna did not want to be recognized by the gopis, and Radha also because she did not understand the nature of these attractions, since she had not recognized that it was Krishna, because she's chased to Krishna. But sometimes when Krishna is disguised like this, she becomes really attracted and she thinks that she is attracted to somebody else than Krishna, and she feels remorse for that. These are the Leelas, Keli Leelas. So, let us see. Yes, I think we'll stop here because there's much more, but it's already late. Huh? Just a sec. Okay. We're just finished with that. So the gopis, they stepped back and they returned to their respective places. But Radharani, she was still captivated by the beauty and the kindness of Bogri Gopal, the leader of Kamadev's army. And then she began to think, I know only one person who can completely subjugate my mind and heart in this way. And it's beautiful because actually the Lila Shakti of Krishna is so powerful that it creates unique situations like that, where even the gopis, occasionally they cannot even recognize Krishna. Mm-hmm. And this energy, to increase the Leelas, can also gradually enable them to awaken to this reality. So that's what happened in this pastime. So Radharani, she began to have doubts in her heart, and her thoughts were transmitted to her friends also, and they looked at each other and they exchanged glances. And then, yes, just a sec, because it's a very long pastime, but we don't have much time. Okay. Okay. So Krishna, he was lost in his thoughts and emotions because he was becoming really attracted to Radharani. And then he had forgotten everything about the role he was playing, the tax collector. And because he was trying to approach the limitless qualities of Radharani, especially her beauty. And without realizing it, he assumed his true soft voice at that time, like the cuckoo that is calling its companion in the morning at daybreak. And he said, Radha, Radha, Radha. And he lost himself completely in the vibration of her name. And Krishna stood there completely intoxicated. Radha, 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 Radha. And he didn't understand why he couldn't enjoy the company of Srimati Radharani at that time. He was confused. And then he was just like a person who had lost his mind completely. And Radharani and her Sakis, they were inwardly very happy to see that it was Krishna, finally, was going to such great lengths and difficulties to approach Radhika. But they still displayed anger to further like kind of exacerbate the situation. And Krishna, because he revealed himself, the other coward boy, they were also discovered and faced with the power of the gopis' love, and they lost their strength and determination. It was like kind of a complete reversal of the situation. And Vishaka, she said, I see that the king of Kamadev's army has laid down his arms at her Swamini's feet and is seeking mercy. So Lalita, she says, we can clearly see who is this Kamadev. Please stop disturbing our service. We must now go and deliver what remains of this gift from Queen Kirtida. You have obtained what you desired, to fill your stomachs. So now leave us alone. Chitra, she says, if you continue to bother us, we will complain to Queen Yashoda, After that, you will receive a good beating from your mothers. Besides, why wait any longer to complain? So when they heard these words, the cowherd boy, they became frightened and they stepped back and they dropped their sticks at that time. And with the way clear, the gopis, they placed their pots back to their heads, which was a third empty. And Radharani, she was looking at Krishna like that, and Krishna was watching Radha, and they were absorbed in each other in this way. And Champakalata, she took Radharani's pot, and Alita and Vishaka, they took Radhika by the hands, and together they left for Japan. And tears flowed from Radhika's doe-like eyes, and Krishna, seeing his beloved leave, he collapsed on the ground, and his friends came to his rescue. So that's how the Lila finishes. It's Jai Dhanalila ki. Jai Nitai Gaura Premanande. Jai Shri Prabhupada ki.
Jai. Bhakti Maharaj ki jai.
The assembled devotees ki. Jai.